What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a bunch of Destiny 2 news and updates to round up. So we're going to talk about some of Bungie's final updates before the end of the year. On top of this, in-game, Saint 14 of course has returned, and he's got some pretty cool quests and lore stuff there. But we are going to speak about a possible mystery character. It could be a sneak peek at some future content, but we've also got some new interviews with Bungie about the future of the game, and then news and updates about upcoming events, content which will now arrive in Season 10. And we've got some other stuff to round up in the video as always. So guys, if you enjoy this one, a rating below really helps me out, but otherwise, let's get straight into it. And so, first up, despite Season of Dawn ticking away, Bungie communications are set to quiet down just a little bit over the holiday season, but they do point out for the next couple of weeks that the player support teams will be around throughout the holidays to review player reports and investigate the latest known issues. DMG adds that community managers will be around to respond to anything that pops up, and then the TWAB updates and things like that will begin again as of January the 9th. Bungie do say that they won't come with major announcements or anything like that, but a gentle return to normality. And of course in-game, we do have the Devil's Ruin exotic quest on January 7th, so aside from a couple of roadmap items over the next couple of weeks, Devil's Ruin will certainly be the next major piece of content that we get. Now though, Saint 14 has of course returned to the tower in one of the more memorable content drops for Season of Dawn thus far. It was definitely a surprise alongside Xur yesterday. Saint does come with 3 different quest lines to start the proceedings. Of course, one of the big things is that we can unlock a tower obelisk, so it does come with unique weapon frames like the Perfect Paradox, but it can also be upgraded by resetting obelisks on different locations, which will actually unlock the weapon frames from different locations onto this obelisk, which is pretty useful. Some of Saint 14's tower dialogue is pretty cool. If you wear the helm of Saint 14, he'll actually recognize that you're wearing it and suggest that you go play a trick on Lord Shaxx. A lot of the lore stuff is definitely cool, and people have discussed a couple of things about Saint's return. Firstly, that he states he wants to create a beacon for other Guardians. And considering how much trial stuff he has around him, the fact that he returned on a Friday, it definitely has folks wondering, is this another tease to the Trials of Osiris? And of course, it's definitely possible, although Saint is strongly linked with Osiris and the original Lighthouse in general, so it isn't entirely unusual that he carries the banners with him, but it's looking like Trials is generally likely to return at some point in the future. Folks have also discussed the possibility that the beacon he refers to could potentially mean bringing home lost Guardians, so there's also speculation this could possibly lead to a return of Prince Aldrin, who we now know is living in the wilds of the European Dead Zone, just out of the reach of the city walls. There are a lot of interesting story threads going on at the moment, and new characters definitely appear to be a focus in general, so let us know what you think of Saint's return. Of course, when he isn't headbutting Vex to death, you'll find him here in the tower hangar, feeding the pigeons. Let's move on to some other news though. There has been some intrigue about a mystery character recently spotted in the updated credits for Destiny 2. So there's a name listed there for a character called Skabretti, which I hope I'm saying correctly. You'll notice this character is listed in amongst some very notable and important characters in the game. And originally this was pointed out on Twitter, and some folks thought maybe the image is actually fake, but that definitely isn't the case, as this is a screenshot that I took inside of the credits in the game. H. John Benjamin is an interesting one. There is a fairly well-known voice actor with that name, but they do typically spell their name John as Jon and not John, and that actor has also been in Destiny before as a radio voice on patrol terminals, so maybe a discrepancy on the actor's name itself, but regardless of that, Skabretti definitely sounds like an important future character. Obviously the character will be voiced in the game, and it would appear that we're looking at a secret character for either this season, maybe with things like the upcoming Empyrean Foundation, or otherwise a character for a future season, but precisely how significant they turn out to be is certainly a mystery for now. Be sure to let me know what you guys think about it down below, but here there are some other interesting interview segments with D2's from Bungie. They do cover the future of D2, seasons, D3 and more, so speaking to Video Games Chronicle, PCGamesN and GamesRadar, when asked about D3, Deej said, "I don't have any good announcements to make about the next bold moves we'll make in the franchise. Right now, our commitment and our attention is to make the seasons that will unfold over the course of the next year interesting and sustain a perennial story arc that will keep players engaged." He goes on to say, "I understand the question you're asking, and it's certainly an interesting one, and we'll have a lot of cool stuff to say on that later, but I'm afraid that moment will have to wait a little longer." So that's pretty interesting in itself. It would certainly seem that Bungie do have some kind of a plan for what's going to happen next, but there are also a bunch of questions about upcoming platforms, a new title, and commitment to PvP, so they say both Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 are coming next year with backwards compatibility. Is Bungie prepared to ensure Destiny players have a great experience when they move over to those consoles? And Deej said, "We want to make sure players have a great experience on any platform where they can play Destiny, but given that those announcements are less than a week old, I'm in no way in any position to make any promises as to how that is going to work." He does say that our players can be confident that we are at their service to provide as good an experience to them wherever they decide to play. But they also had a question about PvP, and so they say, do you have any plans to improve the endgame for PvP players? Deej replies, there has been a conversation at Bungie about reinvestment in PvP, and I think you started to see the beginnings of that last season with Crucible Labs. As a member of the community team, I love Crucible Labs because it's a great means of collaborating with players and giving them a voice in our creative process. And they do ask him about Trials, when is it coming back? And he says that we have no announcements to make about Trials at this time. And I guess that answer generally is to be expected, but on the subject of seasonal evolutions, the GamesRadar article did say that Deej stressed that all seasons will continue to evolve in Year 3, and that players shouldn't expect to see the same content beats, like a new Horde mode, Season Pass swag, Eververse refresh, and a handful of exotics repeated every season. Levine from Bungie also adds that they don't think there's ever a one true size for a season, and they'll always do their best to make sure that each season fits the community and what they want to see from the game. And so there are an extra couple of insights in those interviews if you want to check them out. We'll link them down below, but to round up the rest of our relevant game news, initially just a couple of days back, we spoke about a new Iron Banner bow, which was also spotted in the roadmap image for this season. Unfortunately, Bungie do say that if you were paying close attention to that calendar, they were hoping to have the new Iron Banner bow available this season, but it's had to be pushed back to Season 10, and they want to let players know to avoid any confusion. So unfortunately, we're not going to be getting the Point of the Stag bow just yet. This does appear to be an Iron Banner ritual weapon of some sort, so it will be cool when we get the drop and we could see an update to the current perk rolls and things like that. And briefly, we did also learn about some potential sandbox changes for Warlock melee speed for Season 10, as well as a possible change to the screen shake on Hardlight, but these are very early changes being worked on, so they could change between now and when Season 10 begins. But otherwise for Season of Dawn, Iron Banner begins on Tuesday, that is the 24th of December at 9 AM PDT, and is going to run up until 9 AM PDT on December 31st. There will be an Armor 2.0 version of the Iron Truage set available this season, and there is the seasonal pursuit to actually earn that armor, which they point out is character-based and rewards a Season of Dawn armor set, and each step of that quest will award an Iron Banner weapon or armor. They also point out that they made a change to the Arsenal of Tricks bounty, where the ability final blow requirements have been reduced by half. And so that's definitely a very good change. But as we go through the next couple of weeks, if you're wondering what we're really going to get, of course on the 24th of December we get Iron Banner and that third Sundial boss, and so it will be a relatively run-of-the-mill reset. The week after Christmas is going to be a quiet week, so there isn't anything specific on the roadmap for that, but then of course on the 7th of January, we'll get the Legend Sundial, which is basically the hard mode version of it, and the exotic quest Devil's Ruin. So that first week back, as well as with the TWAB on the 9th of January, will feel like a relatively lively one, but otherwise then at the end of January we have the Bastion exotic quest, and then Empyrean Foundation, a mysterious 4th Sundial boss, and Crimson Days in February. Now, a couple of final updates and things going on, just some good shoutouts, but the final 5 pieces of armor in the current Season Pass will always come with plus 60 stat rolls, so it's just worth pointing out when you collect those, they do default at pretty high stat rolls. They're not necessarily the best specific stats that you're looking for, but it's worth bearing in mind when you pick them up. And there is also a perk at level 92 of the Season Pass that allows you to get Sundial weapons with an additional perk in the last column, or should I say an optional perk, so you basically be able to switch traits and choose between 2 different ones. Those are definitely good shouts on the loot front, and earlier this week Bungie did fix the problem where Resonant Stems, Escalation Protocol chests, and other EP rewards were kind of bugged. And so if you want to hunt Armor 2.0 versions of any of that armor, you can now do it. They fixed the problem where Sundial rewards could be infused without dismantling the item. And then they also fixed the Dynamo bug, so those are available in the game again. And if you missed any of the patch notes from the update that we had on Tuesday, I will link them down below. Destiny's been doing pretty well on the awards front recently. Bungie did get a community award, which is pretty cool. And also the Washington Post did name Destiny as one of the most influential games of the decade. And they said when released, reviews of Destiny were harsh, activities were boring, the loot was inadequate, and the story was nonsense. And I guess, yeah, in reality, it was kind of true, definitely in relation to what we have at the moment, but they go on to say that Destiny's disastrous launch was an omen that these persistent games as a service titles will be really hard to not only make, but maintain, and Destiny's early missteps were repeated not only by its competitors, but even by Bungie itself for Destiny 2. But of course they go on to talk about the successes that Destiny's had since then. And actually, when you look at the genre of games, right, you look at competitors like Anthem, as well as many other of the major titles that have kind of launched around this, and you also look at how bad things can go when publishers and games companies are seen to be doing their players a disservice, right? And so considering where Bungie did end up with Destiny 2 initially, I think they've continued to be one of the models of excellence and success within this genre for sure, so it definitely makes sense. Of course, you can check that out in the Washington Post if you want to, but finally, something cool to share with you. Bungie very kindly sent me some of their new Palladium moon boots, and that is literally what they look like if you've never seen them. They're pretty cool. I'm not going to model them for you right here or anything, but you can see that they've got the lunar colony or Taken or badges on them, all of the Destiny logos. You can kind of wear them with the cuff or whatever it's called on a shoe. Is that what you call it? I don't know what it's called, but you can wear them up or down. And so yeah, if you want some funky moon looks, then these are still up on the Bungie store for pre-order, and I'll link the main US as well as EU stores below. And as always, massive thanks to Bungie and to Premier Comms for sending these over to share with you guys. So for today, that's everything we've got to talk about. I will keep you posted with the weekly reset on Tuesday, and hopefully a couple of other videos throughout the next week or so. But if you've enjoyed this one, a rating is very much appreciated. If you're getting into the holiday season, or soon to be getting into the holiday season, then I hope you have an absolutely awesome one, whatever it is that you get up to. Definitely take some time to relax and reflect, of course, on this year. We've got just a little bit of time left, so I'll have a few videos before the end of 2019. But guys, if you've enjoyed the video, a rating below is very much appreciated. As always, give me any thoughts on the stuff we've spoken about in this video in the comment section below. And if you are new around here, be sure to get subscribed if you want to be kept up to date with everything related to Destiny 2. But otherwise, thank you as always for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.